because actually we live in a microcosmic world where we are a reflection of the whole. We're in a holograph here. What's happening for me is what's happening in the world. The disconnection within and the toxicity within and the acidity within is simply a reflection of what's happening without. And that's the revolution that we need to start understanding. We're cellular beings. Each of our 80 trillion cells is a microcosm of what we are within the global human community. There are 8 billion human beings. At some point, we're going to have to come together and work as one unit. But if we're all so toxic, it's like having 8 trillion toxic cells in our bodies. What's that going to do? We're talking cancer. What is there a rampant, outbreak in? It's cancer. So it's like, wow, the only true way to resolve the conflict in the external world is to resolve the conflict within. And that means going in and taking responsibility. And that's one of the words that I do use a lot, is take responsibility. And that responsibility is not some moral responsibility that we've learned from, our parents or our teachers and all that sort of stuff. It's not, I'm taking responsibility, but I'd rather not. This is, I'm taking responsibility because I really love myself, because I really want to take responsibility, because I've seen the connection between me taking responsibility for myself and the impact that it has on the outside world. And it's like, you can arrive there in 2 ways. My blessing was that I actually arrived at having to take responsibility through illness. That when I was diagnosed with having major illness, I was faced with the choice. Either I absolve myself of responsibility and just put myself into the hands of the medical profession, or else I decide that I need to go on a journey and actually find out for myself, investigate for myself what's going on. And I haven't got it in for the medical profession as individuals. I have as a system. Systemically, I haven't got much time for, when a system takes over the humanity, when it becomes more a system than it does the individuals involved, then I have a problem with it, because then we become dispensable and we're no more than numbers. We're just part of a treatment plan. and that's a problem. So I was forced through illness to go on the journey that's brought me to a place of being able to say this. So I was blessed. I've turned my experience from being hellish to being wellish, and so there's an opportunity there. And if you don't have that opportunity, how are you going to make the decision? What's going to be the incentive to make a decision to actually activate one's wellness? Because actually it is fundamental. The more well you are on a cellular level, then the more emotionally well you start becoming. And the more emotionally well you start becoming, the more mentally adjusted you become. So you can actually put your gifts more clearly, with more clarity into the world, because you've got more energy, because you've got more flow, because you're less obsessed emotionally. And the more that kind of compounds itself, the more spiritually connected you start to become, so it can actually fulfill your divine mission on the earth, because ultimately that's what we're here for. We're here to be the free flow of energy from the very height of our being, through spiritual, through the mind, through the emotions, down into the physical, down into the cells. We're light beings. We're designed to channel light. But if we're toxic in any of those stages, as the light filters down, then we're going to block that energy, right? This makes sense. We're going to block that energy, and that means we're not going to be able so much to fulfill our divine mission, our divine purpose in the world. And it's a wasted opportunity. It's just a wasted opportunity, because we're here to serve ourselves and to serve other people. And if you're riddled with toxicity on on any of those levels, you cannot fulfill. It's much more difficult to fulfill your divine mission in the world. And that's why the wellness revolution becomes the wellness evolution, because if we start doing that, and we're being forced into looking at it, because everything's so toxic. So it's like we've been corralled into actually either becoming more unconscious, and the more unconscious we become, the more of a cash cow we become for those forces who want to prey on us. And there are forces who want to prey on us. They're called pharmaceutical companies. They're called Food Incorporated. They're called the fast food. People who want to make a buck out of you being sick because you're worth more money sick than you are well. So we're being forced into the corral of, are you going to wake up and take responsibility, or are you going to fall mercilessly asleep and just hand yourself over, like in the Matrix, where you just plug it in and they can just use you as a battery. And that's like, that film appeared for a very good reason, to show us, you know. And it's like, that's why I have the passion. That's why I have the overriding sense that we need to grab hold of this, guys. It's an imperative. Otherwise, we're coasting through in a dreamlike state. And it's not the place to do that. We're divine beings, and connecting with our divine nature through the very cells of our being. On the cellular level, it's like it turns life into this magical, you know, into a truly divine experience where we are flowing with the energy that we have. And that's, you know, if we can just get that as a starting place, then everything else starts to open up to us. That's the ground of being. That's where I want to, you know, assist people to start in that place.